Another huge loss for Flamengo. A friend, a guy who I ran into him so many times at Gavia, Maracanã. He was going through a really tough time. Only those who know understand what he went through in the hospital and beyond. And I feel really sad. And in the same week that we lost Oscar, we brought this news that the great Arthur Mullenberg from Euroblog, the Flamengo fans blog of so many chronicles, he went to meet my grandfather. He went to be with my grandfather. He went over to Oscar's side. Adilio. 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 And so many other idols who are already gone. What a shame. What a shame. Flamengo even made an announcement. Nah. I get really sad, man, because he was also there at the beginning. I remember when I was at Magia Rubro Negra with my friends Fernando Holanda and Fabio Justino. Back at the beginning of Magia Rubro Negra, Nivinha, Arthur, they were also making content about Flamengo. With a lot of love for Flamengo, they were making content. Yeah. And we now don't have that anymore. Let's follow new posts, new stories from Arthur Mullenberg. Yeah. Clube de Regatas do Flamengo deeply mourns the passing of Arthur Mullenberg, one of the brightest chroniclers of our recent history. Arthur didn't just cheer, he deciphered what it means to be Flamengo through his words on Urublog. In his books such as the Manual do Rubrianguismo Racional and in his constant presence on social media, he gave a voice to millions, turning the stands into literature. His departure leaves a huge void in the heart of the nation. We wish you strength. Strength to the family, friends, and the thousands of readers who, just like him, experience Flamengo intensely. Rest in peace, Arthur. Rest in peace. Pause the video here just to bring you some exclusive information. Flamengo, rest in peace, rest in peace. Rest in peace. Rest in. In the Copa do Brasil, when Flamengo is the home team, the negotiation is with the CBF. It's different. It's different from the negotiation for Flamengo's home matches in the Brazilian Championship. Flamengo is negotiating, so it's exclusive information here from the pages. Paparazzo Rubro Negro. Flamengo is negotiating with the CBF to also broadcast its Copa do Brasil matches abroad with images. Currently, it's not just Brazilians. The matches where Flamengo is the home team in the Brazilian Championship and in the already finished Carioca Championship, which Flamengo won, are those where Flamengo hosts. So, there are 19 matches that Flamengo has in the Brasileirão. Some have already been played, and the Copa do Brasil at this moment is not included. That's right. So, there isn't, in this Wednesday's game at 9:30 p.m., there won't be a later Flamengo TV broadcast with video. Today we have Mengão, debuting in the 2026 Copa do Brasil. Flamengo is chasing their 6th title. Yeah, in the Copa do Brasil, it's their 6th title. In the Libertadores, their 5th. And in the Brasileirão, their 10th. And we know we can't count on Lucas Paquetá, who suffered some swelling, right? And is out for 2 games. We also still can't count on Jorginho, right? We're waiting maybe for him to be listed. In the match against Atlético Mineiro, they also won't be able to count on Eric Pulgar. Not yet. So Flamengo there's Carrascal as well, who is suspended. So it's very important for Arrascaeta to be on the field, right? So we have this rotation happening. But can you imagine if our Leonardo Jardim, who's working miracles, puts De La Cruz to play in Arrascaeta's position? We come in like that saying, hey guys, red-black greetings, this is Flamengo, welcome to the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel, here we go. May Yiwoki. I invite you to follow, like, and share on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, I invite you to subscribe down below, turn on notifications by clicking the bell, and leave a cool like on the video. Here we are. Brought to you by Mais Cabelo. You can get an amazing treatment, the leader in the segment in Brazil, hair treatment, and on top of that, the Mais Slim weight loss program. You can lose a lot of weight with Mais Cabelo and in a healthy way. What's most important is the follow-up, so it's amazing. It's everywhere in Brazil. Every corner of Brazil has a Mais Cabelo near you. You can contact them now, QR code and everything. Take advantage of a 60% discount on the weight loss program. And we're also here to remind you that you can secure your spot at Flamengo Games, Champions League. There are several packages that Caravana do Arrudo has for you. And in Rio de Janeiro, reception with ticket included at Maracanã, okay? Flamengo Games are always with Arrudo's Caravan, whether in Rio de Janeiro, outside the city, or even abroad. If you want, Arrudo's Caravan will be by your side. Remember, since the 1981 Mundial, they've been with the fans, with Flamengo's members providing excellent service. And we should have Danilo in defense, right? And Danilo was the first to win this watch here. He was the one who scored the goal for the 4th Libertadores title. Today is the Copa do Brasil, right? He scored the goal for the 4th Libertadores title. And look, you can get this at Flamengo's official stores. Look how amazing this is. 4th title, my friends. You can also find it here on YouTube Shopping at the Shopee store, right? Also there, the official Flamengo store on Shopee, also the official online store, lohaflamengo.com.br, and in the physical stores at the Gavia store. In physical stores all over Brazil, you can find it, and here on YouTube Shopping. You help Flamengo too, and you help our channel. Check it out. Tetra Flamengo, it has the Flamengo crest everywhere you look. What a beautiful watch. Really gorgeous, okay? Fantastic watch. Just look at the details. Look at it, man. Beautiful, really beautiful. So you can get it here, also at the official physical and online stores. Look, I'm going to tell you that we have here the probable lineup according to GE, right? The information they brought is that Flamengo is coming with Rossi. Okay? Although there are people like Angelo Furtado saying that Andrew could be Flamengo's starter against Vitória in the Copa do Brasil, okay? Andrew could start in tonight's game for the Copa do Brasil, so that's a possibility. We can't rule it out, but according to GE, Rossi, Royal, Danilo. Look at Danilo in the cups, huh? Vitão, right? Also deserves more opportunities. Rotating the squad, but still with a strong team. Ayrton Lucas, Nicolás de la Cruz, Everton Araujo sitting deeper, with Nicolás de la Cruz ahead of him, Arrascaeta, Luis Araujo, Cebolinha, and Bruno Henrique. That's GE's probable lineup. Let me give you the other details about this Wednesday's 9:30 p.m. game, right? The broadcast will be on Premiere, okay? Refereeing by Anderson Daronco. Keep an eye on him, okay? Daronco is from Rio Grande do Sul, but you know he's always around, right? Bombadinho is always causing trouble for Flamengo, right? So Anderson Daronco, assistants Leila Nayara Moreira da Cruz from the Federal District, Michael Stanislau, also from Rio Grande do Sul, and the VAR is Thiago Duarte Peixoto, another one from São Paulo. VAR from São Paulo, man, once again, right? The probable lineup for Vitória with Lucas Sarcanjo, Nathan Mendes, Kaká, Luan Cândido, and Ramon, Kaique Zé Vitor, right? Ronald or Edenilson and Martinez, Eric, Mateuzinho, and René, okay? This is the probable Vitória team for this 9:30 p.m. game, Mengão's debut in the Copa do Brasil. Get upset and they'll think the nickname stuck. Bro, don't we make fun of Armeiras? Don't we call them Cheiro Verde? Don't we call them Bira and Baixada without a World Cup? We tease those guys. Those guys are pissed because they've been losing everything to Flamengo lately. They can't win a single one. They can't win a single game against Flamengo. They're desperate. So they try to create a situation to see if it'll get attention, calling Arrascaeta's dive. Arrasca gets the penalty. And man, people are going to get annoyed. Annoyed about what, man? Mock them right back. Mock those guys right back. It's part of soccer. There's no reason to get annoyed about anything. Flamengo doesn't owe anyone anything. Just look at it. Palmeiras is always among the clubs with the most favorable VAR decisions. Simple as that. Flamengo, in all the recent years of the Brazilian Championship, is the club with the fewest positive VAR interventions. Whenever VAR is used, it doesn't benefit Flamengo. In other words, the decision isn't favorable to Flamengo. So, what do these guys want to say? Now, if you want to joke around, go ahead. I even laughed a lot. The videos turned out really funny, man. People shared a video of Arrascaeta falling into the pool, just like someone from Palmeiras had done before. They made a trophy. They even made a trophy, man. You have to find it funny, man. Don't fall for it. They're doing this on purpose to see if it gets engagement, because nowadays, I'll tell you, only Flamengo gets engagement. They want to get engagement. When we respond and criticize, they say we only think about Palmeiras too. For God's sake, right? We respond to you guys, right, man? We respond to you. That's the reality. Because Flamengo is being approached by teams from abroad. Leo Pereira and other players who are of interest, whose contracts are ending. Man, everyone wants Flamengo's players. Flamengo has 3 really strong teams today. Even the third team is very good. According to G, Flamengo turned down an offer from Shakhtar Donetsk for Rian Roberto, and they're prioritizing renewing his contract so they don't risk losing him for free. So without much playing time under Leonardo Jardim, the 18-year-old forward, he's young too, right, is also a target for CSKA Moscow. His staff is okay with him staying, right? But he wants more minutes. Otherwise, a move to Europe should progress. So the player wants more playing time at Flamengo. He wants an opportunity. Leonardo Jardim is excellent at developing young players, right? So I think Mbappe can attest to that, right? I think there's a chance that Leonardo Jardim will make good use of Rian Roberto. And this interest from Shakhtar Donetsk, from CSKA, right? No red flags there. Remember that in 2027, right in the first half of the year, his contract with Flamengo ends. So that needs to be resolved soon. They can't slip up. Rian Roberto is a star. He plays really well. He's a great gem from Flamengo's youth academy, okay? Cebolinha, right? He's being targeted by a team from Turkey, Besiktas, okay? They've shown interest in Everton Cebolinha again, and Flamengo admits they would be willing to sell him for the right fee. With his contract winding down and without a place in the squad led by Leonardo Jardim, his contract ends at the end of the year. In the middle of the year, he can sign a pre-contract. He is also attracting the attention of other clubs. So the clubs, afraid that he might become a free agent and end up losing him, might come and say, look, I'll pay this much. I'll pay 4 million euros, 5 million euros. Just release him to me right away. 3 million euros, just release him to me right away so I don't have to wait until the end of the year and don't risk him becoming more expensive without a contract or losing him to another team, okay? So, valued at around 7 million euros, the tendency is for his value to decrease starting in June, when he will enter. In the last 6 months of his contract, which could make a transfer possible for amounts between 3 and 4 million euros, according to the newspaper Odia. So, we had already mentioned this, 3 million euros, which was the fee he should be sold for, so Flamengo wouldn't lose the entire value. An eventual departure would open up space in the squad and the budget for international reinforcements, and also a winger. Flamengo has been evaluating some names for the wing position. Flamengo will need to make signings. And Flamengo is doing very well in midfield, very well in defense, right? If Flamengo signs a fullback there, maybe 2 fullbacks, and signs a good winger or 2 good wingers and a striker, man, Flamengo will have 2 very strong teams. Very strong. That's the reality. Paquetá is guaranteed to be in the World Cup, okay? That's very important information. We've been saying we had inside info from Flamengo that they considered it. How long has it been? Comment below. Didn't you see it here? We talked about this. That inside Flamengo, the information is that they say it's 99% certain that Paquetá is going to the World Cup. This has been going on even before these last 2 matches. They were already saying, look, he's improving, he's getting better and all. The information is that Ancelotti is going to take him to the World Cup. And now, right, they're talking about it again. We just had Pedro and Valmeida reporting that Ancelotti is going to take Lucas Paquetá to the World Cup. So that's a reality. Lucas Paquetá, according to Pedro and Valmeida, that's their information. And we also reported that at Flamengo, he was considered 99% certain to make the World Cup squad, even with everything that happened, the move to Brazil and everything else. He wasn't called up recently. But Ancelotti talked about Paquetá in a recent press conference, right? And he made it clear that he was doing some tests but I really believe that he will actually take Paquetá. And the information from Pedro Ivo over at ESPN is that Ancelotti will take Lucas Paquetá to the World Cup. Speaking of Pedro, right, I also believe he'll go to the World Cup, and I believe, right, that he'll be called up in this final list from Ancelotti. Also, Pedro talked about the issue with Felipe, Luis, and so on, and Pedro mentioned another situation in an interview with GR, which is very important. He says that he's still not thinking about retirement. 28 years old, laughs. I keep going. But of course, I think a lot about the moment. When it comes to extending the contract, it's not really up to me, but I'm very happy here at Flamengo. It's inevitable. So for him, renewing the contract is inevitable. There's no getting around it. This contract for him in his mind will be renewed. He doesn't see any other possibility, okay? Of course, I want to make more history with this jersey, keep scoring goals and win titles. Every day I spend here is a dream come true, and I hope it stays that way. Man, it's amazing, right? Pedro, I'll tell you guys, sometimes I think he should be more appreciated by the fans, you know? Pedro deserves more appreciation. It's impressive. The guy has always shown he's a Flamengo fan, always wanted to play for Flamengo. So I think he could be more appreciated at Flamengo, Pedro, you know. Pedro, to me, is an outstanding player and has already shown his love for Flamengo in many situations. What do you guys think? I think like Pedro is fantastic. Let's also bring up Plata's situation here. I'm telling you about players who are making a comeback, right? Paquetá is already being considered for the World Cup again, and so is Pedro. But Gonzalo Plata, who I was talking to you about, look, he really made a comeback at Flamengo in less than a month. After internal criticism, the club protected the striker and Leonardo Jardim gave him a vote of confidence, okay? The Ecuadorian responded with more focus, was fined, adjusted his routine, and also earned some credit after good performances for the national team. Since being left out against Corinthians, he has become a regular, played in 5 of the last 6 games, and started in 3 consecutive wins. Today, he has regained his place and confidence in the squad. He's playing well. He needs to improve a bit on his finishing, but I'm really happy with Gonzalo Plata's performance.